Okay, I'm here to try to help out with Chapter 5. And in Chapter 5, we go into more detail on loops and where they're utilized. And I thought that it might be noteworthy that we see loops being used by programmers every day in the things that we do. Um, if you buy something on the internet, go to Amazon.com or something like that, they will ask you for your name, your address, and they'll have a loop in there. And if you haven't filled out all the blanks, it'll come back and it'll highlight in red the blanks you haven't filled in. And that's just so that you don't corrupt the program and pass down through the program things that are needed. Um, Also, when you go to buy something, at the end they'll ask you for your credit card. Type in a number. If that number, they check to see if that number is valid. If it's not valid, they come back, tell you it's not valid, and enter again, please. So those are all loops that we see in our everyday world, and may not have noticed how they get those things done. So Chapter 5 explains a lot of that and goes into more detail with loops. And I thought I would make up a problem that might be helpful to you as you approach your homework for Chapter 5. And let me blow this thing up a little bit so we can take a look at it. Oh, we're getting there. There we go. What I did was I picked an example of a church trying to keep track of member giving and versus pledges, and that's something that usually that's done by a financial secretary or just a secretary. Sometimes a head of like an elder in a church might be the only person that sees the amount of giving that each member is giving. I know that in my church, the pastor is kept in the dark, is supposed to be kept in the dark about what every member is giving. It's supposed to be something that is kept as secret as possible between the person running the finance of the church and the member. But anyway, a lot of churches will send you a notification every month that they received your offering and how much your offering was and how that goes against your pledge. So I thought I would, just for fun here, create something that might be what a secretary or finance chairman might use. Okay, so in my declarations, I have the number called total months equals 12. That's a constant, and a string called name, and a number called month, and a number called monthly giving. So when she opens up the envelope and sees what the member has given, she'll be able to input the name and the month and how much was given for that month. And then there would be a number called the yearly pledge. So your pledge is going to be what the person pledged for the year. And then we'll have a name prompt and or ZZZ to quit, and then a number of total giving, and then we'll have a string prompt, giving prompt, which asks for them to give us the information. Okay, so let's take a look at how this works. Obviously, I use modules, so the first thing I do is use a housekeeping module, and then I have a loop, and in the loop I'm asking if the name that was entered is equal to quit, and if the answer is no, it goes out of the loop. I should have put yes and no there. I should have put yes to the right. I usually set up my loops and my selection diamonds to always have the answer to the question be yes going to the right. the answer to no being either going to the left or out the bottom, depending on whether it's a selection or a loop. So in this one here, I should have typed that in. Name, is it equal to quit? And if it's not equal to quit, then go to the detail loop and come back. And then once the person is ready to quit the program, they'll type in the ZZZ, and it'll drop out and go to the end of job detail loop and then to stop. Okay, so the more important one to look for here is the detail loop, but let's go first to see what the housekeeping loop looks like. Whoop, went too far. Okay, so housekeeping loop, housekeeping module is output the name prompt, which asks them to give me the name, and then they'll input the name and then return to the main branch. Then we go to the detail loop, and in the detail loop we're going to ask for the giving prompt, which will ask them, well, how much is being given, and what will be input is the month giving and the year pledge. Okay, so in January, let's say the January of the year, the secretary or treasurer, whoever is opening up all these envelopes, is going to start in January, month 1, and so we're going to go to a loop. And the question we're asking is month equal to the total months or not. If it's not equal to total months, it's going to go into this loop. All right. Now, total months was a constant that I named up above in declarations, which was 12. Okay. So obviously, as long as this isn't December, I'm going to keep going through this loop. Okay. But once I hit month 12, then while I answer the question, is the month of December 12, is it less than or greater than the total months? And the answer is it's neither one of those. It's equal, therefore no. And then you would return back to the main loop and finish it out. Okay. So in this, let's say the month of January, which would be month 1, then what we're going to do is say that the year pledge is equal to the year pledge minus the monthly giving. So, for example, let's say somebody pledges they're going to give $5,000 to the church for the year. And the secretary here in month 1 opens up the envelope and sees that the monthly giving was $400. Then what we're doing is we're saying we're going to change now your pledge, which started out, your pledge at the beginning of this is $5,000. We're going to reduce it by $400 and say that it is now $4,600. What I'm after here is the ability for the secretary to be able to send a notification to the member that, okay, after January 1st, your yearly pledge is now $4,600 because you gave $400 in the month of January, just so that the records are being kept straight between the church and the member. So we're going to output the name, the remaining pledge, which would be the year pledge now after the monthly giving, and then what this month's monthly giving was. And then we're going to advance the month. Month equals month plus 1. We're going to advance the month to the second month. Output name prompt, input name, and back around we go. So next month, the secretary will go in for February and put in the information. Okay, so we go to the end of job up here and output the end prompt, and we return. So we're done. Okay, now one thing I did do was I made it just a hair more complicated, and I said let's give a report where we can look at and this would be a report that you could share with the congregation, pretty much, I suppose, which would be the accumulated numbers for all of the members. Okay, so one of the things I did was I went in here now, and all I did was add these two red boxes. I think I might have had to change my declarations up there. I did. I added a red box there for accumulate monthly giving. Accumulate monthly giving. So now, when I say accumulate monthly giving, I'm saying it is member A, their monthly giving added to member B's monthly giving added to member C's, and so forth. We're accumulating this information then for the whole church. Okay, so one of the things we talked about in chapter 5 is how to know when to be in the loop and out of the loop for certain actions. Okay, this is an example of where you're in the loop to get the accumulated. Okay, so the secretary is doing each member one at a time, and as she does, she's going to type in a monthly giving. Accum monthly giving is going to be increased by that individual member's monthly giving. Then it's going to go back. She's going to put in the next member, and go back, put in the next member, and she's going to keep getting accum monthly giving. It's going to keep going up. Okay, and we know what accum monthly pledge is for the whole church, and what we want to do then is at the end, after we've accumulated, we've got accum monthly giving going in that loop for all members. Then we want to print it out over here. We have to have this one outside the loop. We're not going to print this after each member. We're going to wait until all the members have been loaded in. That's why this one needs to be outside the loop. So after we've gone through every member and put them in for the month of, say, January, we keep running up accum monthly giving. It keeps getting larger as each member's contribution is added. And then at the end, we take it out of the loop now, and we go in and we say output accum monthly giving. And what that does is now we have a number for the whole church. And you see this in church bulletins all the time. They'll say, here's where we are in the month of June. Our total pledges was this. Our monthly giving was this. And you can see what's remaining. And they track it all the way down. And when you get close to the end of the year, you can see whether or not you're on target or not to meet your pledges for the whole church. Okay, so I hope that this was somewhat helpful. And if you have any questions, you can come to the forum or send me an email. And good luck this week on your homework, and I'll see you later.